Previously on D&D Kinda.
My good people, have I never had what was best for Neverwinter at heart? This town is at the height of its prosperity, and even as the sun raises to its peak, so does our good city. Focus not on what you have thought you have seen in the night.
I need to tell you, Liam, the nobleman that did all of these things for your family is gone. This is not him. He is dead. You have to trust us.
I understand this is what you think. There are no magics at play here.
This is not magic. This is pure darkness.
Whenever this thing hits it, you feel the pressure and it falls and it starts to slide through this thing's body, and you look up, and as it shrieks, it's like right in your face, like screaming, and then the thing just explodes into a pile of magma. And whenever it hits you, it starts to move like down your skin, like it's crawling on you. You guys have the nobleman's body there next to you. Doesn't smell great. Do you guys go up through the middle, or do you guys go back out the sewer the same way you came in?
No, we're going up through the middle. Like, we're going up, like, we're going to go to the townspeople with the body. We're taking them all the way down to the entrance.
So you guys haul the nobleman's body up the main staircase. You guys get to the top, and this door locks from this side, so you guys unlock it. So the door swings open, and you guys are in a very, very busy room. And whenever you guys kind of bust open this door, everyone just kind of stops and stares. And there is the nobleman sitting on the throne. He is just doling out gifts.
People of Neverwinter, the man that you see before you sitting on this throne is not who he appears to be. This body that we've brought in front of you is the true nobleman. This man here is an imposter. And for whatever reason, he's been hiding his true identities from you. And then I turn around and I stare at the nobleman.
Hamilton, the nobleman is sitting in his throne, and he just listened to you give this speech, and it is dead quiet. There are probably 50 to 60 different people in this small room alone, let alone the people who are waiting to come in, who are filtering in and out the door, and everyone is just stopped. There's a dead body on the ground behind you, the one you guys know to be the real nobleman. So the nobleman stands up and walks to the left towards the staircase, and his guards start to follow him, but he just kind of puts his hand back like he's telling them to stay. And he walks down into the crowd and walks over where you're standing, and just far enough away from you to where you couldn't like hit him if you tried to, or at least from where you're standing. He kind of leans over and leans around you and looks at the body on the ground. And he takes like a good long look at each one of you. Hamilton, he sees you standing there. What do you have on your person? I'm assuming you still have your staff with you.
I do.
But I'm assuming you're not wielding it. I'm assuming none of you guys are wielding weapons at this point. They're probably all tucked away.
No, I mean, I've got some daggers, and I still have my crossbow, but yeah, everything's probably away.
So it's safe to say that all of your guys' weapons are visible. They're just not equipped.
Drawn, yeah.
So he does a quick analysis of your guys' disposition, sees your weapons, he sees Hamilton, he sees your staff, he sees your crossbow, he sees your guys' attire. Some of you guys are outfitted in just very elegant, very fine, rich fabrics that are clearly imbued with magics. And he could tell you guys, and obviously you can imagine, he has a very stern disposition, but you guys know that he knows clearly who you guys are. And you guys obviously know who this guy is. So you guys are in like this mental battle right now. You guys are in the middle of all these people, and all of you guys could probably reasonably surmise that whatever's about to happen, you're going to be fighting for the minds of the people in this room. which will inevitably spark change all over Neverwinter, the biggest city in Faerun. So he kind of circles you guys and walks around to where the body is placed behind Hamilton and walks up and leans down and kicks the body over onto its back so everyone can clearly see it. And he kind of just scoffs at it.
What is this? Some sort of ruse to overthrow me from power? This is disgusting. You bring this horrid, mangled body in here. And you say this is me? You say this is the leader of this kingdom? Look around you. Everyone is happier than they've been in years.
And he starts to look around and he starts to talk to the people in the room.
This is nothing more than an elaborate attempt to make you all doubt me. You all know of the naysayers, especially at this time of the season of the harvest. Where it is our job as the city gatekeepers to not only keep you all safe, but to provide. Why is it that at this time of year, there are always the people that seek to supplant those in power, the people who provide for all of you? I don't know what this is. I cannot explain this. But why would I be giving to you all? Why would I be here, still leading you all into the greatest prosperity Neverwinter has ever known? This is a joke. Take this and go.
So is he turned away from us?
I mean, he's standing near you guys, but he's
is he
like
facing towards the crowd.
Well, the crowd is all around you. Like the crowd is circling this entire room. He has come down off his like podium down to where you guys are, and you guys are in the center of the room.
So what about me specifically?
The way I'd kind of imagined it was that you guys, the three of you, were kind of standing in a semicircle behind the body, and Hamilton was in front of the body, kind of addressing where he was up on the throne in the front of the room. But now he is down there with you. So I would say he's probably between you and Hamilton, but slightly off to the side, right or left, depending on, Hamilton or your stance.
Okay.
So Bartholonude leaves. He walks toward the door.
And just walks out?
Kind of walks through the crowd out toward the main door. I'm heading toward the doorway that had a large wooden door right beside it. And then there was like a fireplace right across the way. I'm just kind of going toward that direction.
Okay. All right. So he had just said to take it and go, and you turned around and walked out. So he kind of takes that as he's kind of quelling the situation. The nobleman takes this as a gesture that you guys are acquiescing to his request.
I don't know what they're doing, but Bartholonude just left.
Well, I want to know, does that draw his gaze? So what I want to do is I don't want to say anything. I just want to give him a quick slice to see what he bleeds. And if he bleeds weird, oh boy, then that'll obviously show everybody that he's a fucking monster.
Okay.
About to get to it.
Yeah.
So
Getting to it right away.
I would say that he would definitely be able to see you coming, so you wouldn't have any type of advantage. But he's not preparing for that, so you definitely wouldn't have disadvantage on that either.
Nobody prepares for Josh to come.
Nobody can never be prepared.
Actually, no one's ever prepared because they don't expect it to happen so soon. All right, so why don't you go ahead and give me a
slice my own throat. Or if I can beat my own fucking
Bartholonude leaves, or Benedict kills himself.
I can't even kill myself. My AC is so high.
Great.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
so roll an attack.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Oh, we're off to a good start.
Yep. I think it's an 8.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Benedict, you, in a swift movement, draw your scimitar I'm assuming you were going to use your scimitar.
Yeah, just a scimitar. Yeah, I was going to give him a swick dice.
Swick dice.
Yeah, swick dice.
You draw your scimitar and you go to like slice at him, and I mean you clearly miss. Like he.
Well, I do have 2 attacks.
Okay, I would say you could go again, but you're going to have disadvantage on the second attack, just because you took an attack at him, and now he's very aware that you're trying to cut him.
Okay.
So if you'd like to try again, that's completely fine. So you'll do like a once towards him. He gets an idea that you're coming at him, and if you want to go ahead and make a second attack, that's fine.
I'll just go ahead and make a second one.
Okay.
Hey. And that.
Roll it again because you have disadvantage.
Oh yeah, shit. All right, so I'll take the 16 plus 8.
All right. So just to kind of explain the situation, the nobleman is wearing. He does have his armor on because he is there with all the people. Like I said in the very beginning of the show, the armor is it has that big crest in the middle. It's shiny silver. It's got full plated arms, everything like that. He's wearing chainmail underneath of it. He's not wearing any type of helmet or anything.
I did not know this at all.
So, that was still his AC takes into account armor that he's wearing too.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is gonna. If that's a clear hit, so it's going to hit him.
Does he have armor on his hands? Like I just wanted to.
No, he doesn't have armor. Like he only has the armor on that is required to show off like the
Nobleness.
Pecs.
Well, the armor and the seal of Neverwinter that's on the noble. It's like
I know what you're saying.
okay,
You're good.
yeah. The armor of the nobleman. It's like handed down. So yeah. So you take a swipe at him and you miss, and then he kind of lunges backwards, and you lunge forward and try to hit him again, and you hit like I would say his wrist as he's like coming backwards. You just hit his wrist, and his lower wrist all the way down to his hand is completely exposed, and he doesn't have any weapons on his person. And at this point in time, the guards like start to run around and run down, and then people like are gasping and like taken aback and are like some of them are probably clearing out of the room, some of them are just like stepping back, and then it does cut him, and whenever it cuts him, his skin opens up and there's like a thick red ooze that like pours out of it, and it like drips down his hand and falls on the ground. So while it is red, you are close enough. Actually, make a perception check for me.
Okay, that's going to be a 17.
Okay, so you clearly saw this, and it's not blood. It's red, and maybe at a distance it looks like blood, but you can see it. It's like that thick magma stuff that you guys had seen when you guys fought these shapeshifter creatures before. So the blood like falls off of his hand, and it falls onto the ground, and he immediately like ducks over and makes like a like sound and falls on top of it, and then you, since you're so close, can see him when he hits it. It like absorbs back into him.
Oh, this fucking asshole.
So he comes back up, and he's like holding his hand where it was cut. And the guards now come down, and they station themselves beside him, and they start to draw their weapons. And he, still clutching his hand where his wound was, puts his hand up and tells them to stop. And he says,
Stop. There will be no violence here. I have no quarrel with any of you, other than you all trying to supplant my reign here in Neverwinter. At which, if you look around, you can clearly see...
And he's like clutching his hand tighter.
You can clearly see everyone here, other than you, is happy.
I want to interrupt him as he's talking.
Okay.
If you are truly the nobleman, then show everyone your blood.
So he lifts his hand and he pulls his hand down, and it is still open. And there is now like a slow trickle of like this red, like magma type substance. And there are people in the crowd that are, like, oh, no, like people who are squeamish and things like that. But no one is like coming up to actively investigate this because they don't really have a reason to. You know what I mean? Like there's they can see it, and you might have some people's attention. Actually, I have down here that there are definitively people here that attention are definitely caught by what you guys are saying. But remember, everyone here is getting stuff. Everyone here is being treated to. Everyone here is being probably overly lavishly given things. So they're obviously, it's like probably some sort of what's the word?
Millennials?
Jesus.
I wish I had got him ready.
Like bribery. Like
Yeah, they're being spoiled.
yeah, being spoiled, brainwashed almost. So he does. He shows his hand, and there's like this thick red blood that's coming to it, and he isn't shy about it. He raises it up and he like turns it around, and maybe to the naked eye or the few that are not paying attention, it might just look like a large amount of blood that's coming, but you guys can clearly see, as you guys know what you're looking at, it's like a thick pool of like this magma-esque, like bulky blood. Like it's clearly not blood to you all, but it's still red and chunky coming out of him.
I'm going to cast command on him.
Okay.
You have to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right.
I have a disguise kit.
Liam's nephew is back. All right, here we go.
And a book.
I got an 18.
Look at this.
He only has a +2 wisdom, but he rolled a 16. So.
Yeah, that beats it.
Oh,
Okay.
sad.
So Bartholonude's over by the door.
Okay.
And are there any...
Now, hold on. The door. Are you talking about the large wooden iron door, or are you talking about the exit? Because
The wooden iron.
yeah,
I'm kind of by the exit.
okay.
So the way that I imagined it was that there's there's an archway that goes down the staircase to the exit, the door that goes out into the plaza.
Correct.
At the top of that staircase, there's to the right is that wooden door. And then, like, kind of back behind that is the opening area where this all is happening. It's like this little throne room.
So it's very similar proximity, but at the top of the staircase if you're walking up the entrance, to the left is like the fireplace in that door and a hallway, and to the right is the open area. But yeah, it's all very similar proximity as you were.
So, like, I'm standing kind of like off to the side in front of this door, and I just look for like a guard to be like right in my proximity, like right around the door area. Is there one?
I would say yes. I would say that there's probably one or two stationed in various locations. As there are tons of people here, there's going to need to be guards just in case. So yeah, I would say there are a few.
So I walk. I kind of I don't walk. I'm like right there by him, and Bartholonude grabs his attention and says, "Sir, do you know where Liam is?"
Yes, Liam should be upstairs tending to the nobleman's quarters.
Is he like gesturing in that direction?
He's gesturing towards the area down the hallway, which is where the door that leads
Like
to
back
the
to the
staircase.
nobleman's room?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it is upstairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that staircase. He's
So
gesturing. down that way.
Bartholomew kind of like he kind of uses this engagement with this guard to move closer to the guard,
Okay.
and Bartholomew reaches down into like up underneath of one of his pieces of clothing, as if to pull something out to show it to the guard as he's approaching the guard. And when he approaches the guard, he pulls out this little like piece of trash, a little piece of paper, and he holds it up and tries to give it to the guard.
Okay. I mean, I can't think of any reason why he wouldn't like take it from you. So yeah, he reaches out, and he still has like one hand on his weapon, and he's got like a pike, and he's kind of just like standing guard. And he kind of like, still facing that same direction, like leans out and takes it from you.
Okay. And as Bartholomew is handing the item to the guard, Bartholomew kind of looks behind him back toward the throne room, and he focuses his attention on the nobleman's robe, and he casts Zone of Truth on that robe.
Okay. Can you give me the stats on Zone of Truth?
Merle.
It's a magical zone that guards against deception in a 15-foot radius, centered on an item of my choice.
Okay.
When the spell ends, on the start of your turn, you must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, you can't speak a deliberate lie while you're inside of the radius.
What do I have to beat?
Charisma, 15.
Charisma. Okay. Well, he only has a +2 charisma
He's
as well.
probably
This guy's
extremely charismatic.
He is not. He only has a +2. So he is
For most people, that would
Pussy.
be extremely. 'Cause most people
Here we
are not
go.
very charismatic.
nat 20.
Damn.
Fuck.
That was
This guy's.
Well, the plan was to hand this note to the guard, cast Zone of Truth on the
the other guards are within radius too. So I'm gonna make saving throws for them as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I would say some of the crowd would probably be too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Should we make saving throws?
I mean, you can, just in case, because I said the affected parties are going to know. So here's the thing: it says the affected parties will know. Therefore, that the nobleman probably doesn't know because
Yeah. Good point. He's not affected.
exactly. So we'll see how the other guys do
As you're
well.
doing that, Bartholonude kind of hands this note to the guard, casts Zone of Truth on the nobleman's robe, and then as the guard grabs the note, Bartholonude stops the gesture of handing the note to them and just grabs the person's wrist and casts command
on the guard.
on the guard.
Okay. So before we get back to that, the other two guards failed their save. So one got a 13 and one got a 6.
Okay.
So
I got a 19.
okay. So actually, if you guys want to, Benedict and Hamilton, if you guys want to roll a charisma saving throw as well.
I did. I got an 18.
19.
Okay. So
These are all high charisma throws.
Yeah, but
I have +6.
So, but we don't know that he's casted it. So we
no. So you're
We're not-
okay.
we're not
That's right.
affected,
So you
so-
guys don't know it. The other, this is where it's going to get interesting. The two guards who you guys have never heard speak other than in this horrid tongue that no one quite
so these are the
understands.
same. So we recognize these two guys, these two guards. Like,
Well,
the ones
so-
because are they the ones that we fought in the street?
Yes.
Okay.
So the guard always has two. The nobleman always has these two guards on him, and you guys, I would imagine, since you guys have been around. Shut up.
Oh, you said on, not in. Sorry.
Either way.
Since you guys have been around this nobleman, probably 3 or 4 different occurrences when these guards have been. I would say it's probably pretty common knowledge that these guys are the bad guys that are rolling directly with him at all times. So, that being said, both of them now know that there is a Zone of Truth spell that has been cast, and they have to be truthful. What you all don't know is whether or not they can use common, because you've never heard them use it one way or the other. It's always been the tongue that Jed just emulated.
Yeah, but we don't know that it's been cast, so there's nothing.
Correct.
There's no
Correct.
way for us to know to like
Correct.
make
Now,
them speak. So
before we go any further, I'm going to jump back to Bartholonude, because that's going to introduce another flavor of spice into the situation. What does this guy have to beat?
A wisdom 15 saving throw.
He's going to fail. This guy has a -1 to wisdom.
Nat 20.
Oh, God, it's a 15, so you actually still get it, because
Nice.
Ty goes to the runner. So,
you rolled a 16.
I rolled 16, and he has a -1, and he's a 15. So he actually is under your command spell.
So
now.
Bartholomew goes to hand him the note, casts Zone of Truth on the nobleman's robe. Then when he goes to hand him the note, he just grabs his wrist and commands. And the command that he gives, he looks back at the nobleman, and he looks at this guard, and he says, "Kamikaze."
So I'm trying to imagine, in this situation, if what you had said to him, obviously, regardless of whether or not he understands this word, he's under your command, which means he would understand how you were meaning it. So, Bartholonude, that being said, explain to me, when you say this, does this mean go and sacrifice your well-being to try to kill this guy, or does this mean go and kill him and yourself in the process?
Well, okay, now that'll depend on, I guess does that depend on the guard's interpretation of the command?
No, because that's what I was just saying. So originally, yes, it would, but since you're the one commanding him, I would imagine you'd be instructive on how. Like, he would interpret it the way that Bartholonude would want him to interpret it.
Well, okay, so in Bartholonude's definition of that command, it's basically just a relentless attack that could be self-harming.
Okay.
Like, the goal isn't to preserve self, the goal is to harm other.
Okay. So that's the only thing you tell him?
I just say kamikaze.
Okay. So you tell this guard to kamikaze with the intent of the nobleman. So you said an all out. I want to make the reason I'm focusing on this so much is because with Bartholonude given the instruction, I would imagine as it is a magic spell, your exact intent would be flowing through him and he would understand it wholeheartedly.
So can I use more than one word in the command? Because the description of the command spell is that you give a one-word command. So you're wanting more clarity behind this. So I feel like I really was very careful about what word I chose because I wanted to be explicit in the fact that you just need to go and harm the nobleman. Doesn't matter if you get harmed.
And that's okay.
But if you want me to be more verbose, I can and will. And it might give you more flexibility for your creative expression for what the guard does.
If you could, that would be fine. So maybe 2 words, I'll stretch it there. Because I would imagine if you were trying, because I'm okay with him just rushing in here and just shoving people over and going for the nobleman. But I didn't know if Bartholonude's disposition he was trying to get this guy to portray was to be either sneaky about it or at least run in with a purpose or just beeline, who cares what's in your way, because I don't want this to fail. Because you succeeded on your check, I want this to go the way that you're intending it to go up until the point where there's another check that has to happen.
So I think instead of, if I can do more than one word command, I would also like him to be vocal about rebelling. So maybe rebel and kamikaze.
Okay.
He just runs in there and he's like, taxation is theft.
So the intent flows through him. You feel him immediately start to, as your hand was on him, immediately start to move.
As he moves, Bartholonude puts the little crumpled piece of paper back and then starts walking down the staircase out the front door of the keep. And as he does, the guard takes off toward the nobleman. Bartholonude walks toward the door and kind of looks back at the group. He looks at Benedict and Hamilton and Topher just to see if any of their attention, if they happen to look over at Bartholonude during that brief moment.
I definitely paid attention to you leaving, but once you kind of you went through the crowd. Once you kind of got out of eyesight through the crowd, I wanted to focus more on what Benedict was doing with the nobleman.
Yeah, I'm pretty fixated on the nobleman just because I tried to fucking...
Yeah, and I was trying to cast stuff on him, so I'm kind of focused in more on the nobleman now.
What I will say, though, is that based off of where everyone's standing, or at least my perception of the situation, is that Hamilton is likely... You are at least still in his peripherals before you leave the building. So he can probably see, you tower over most of the people in this room. So he could probably still see you towards the exit. So he probably has a sense of where you are, not exactly what you're doing because you're behind a certain part of the crowd. But I would say Hamilton has a pretty good idea of where you are.
That, and if this guard starts running through the crowd, it's going to draw all of our attention back towards where he came from too.
Yeah.
If he's saying anything, if he comes rushing through the crowd, I'm sure that we're all going to be like, what the hell's going on? And
I'm just kind of picturing the guard and me having this interaction, and the way that we're kind of facing is he's his back is facing the wall, he's just guarding, and then when I leave, I move to his left, and when he leaves, he moves to my right, and then he goes behind where I was standing into the throne room. So then I kind of look back into the throne room and see that Hamilton is kind of aware of where I am. And right before I walk down the stairs and out the door, I just reach to my back and grab my halberd and lift it up from my back and then just slap the top of the halberd against the stone of the castle and just try to make a loud noise and then see if that signals your attention. And then without even looking to see if it got your attention, Bartholonude walks down the stairs and leaves.
Okay. I would say make perception checks, everyone.
Okay.
Hamilton have advantage.
17 plus 8.
I rolled a 6.
I rolled a 19. I'm glad I had advantage because otherwise it would have been a 6 as well.
Okay, so Benedict and Hamilton, both of you hear and see the clank of the metal off of the roof of where Bartholonude smacked his halberd on his way out, and it draws both of your attention, and you guys can see that taking place as he's leaving. And just as that happens, the crowd parts, and you see two hands like coming between people and shoving someone aside, and there's a guard that steps out, and he's holding his pike, and he comes out towards the nobleman, and he points at him and says, before I do this, he is rebelling. You told him to rebel. The only problem with this is this guard does not know that the nobleman is a fraud. So his rebelling is probably going to be a little different than what you guys are saying.
And that's fine, because the crowd, what they would see is that he stood up and rebelled at this one moment when this new information was put in. So his expression of how he's rebelling is just going to be exactly that. Yep. They're going to see it as that's why he rebelled, because of the reason that they just witnessed.
Yep. So he steps in and says, "The nobleman, he's a fraud. He's a fraud. We don't have the money to just be doling out everything for you all. Our reserves for the winter are depleted. We have no more clothing to give. We have nothing for new people to come in. We have nothing for the children that are being born. What he's doing is crippling our city, and he will pay. He will pay for this." And as he's saying this, he draws his weapons and starts to charge the nobleman. So, before he does this, is there anything that you guys do, or...
Hamilton starts stroking his dick through his robe.
Of course he does. I pull out my sword. Well, I'm assuming I still have my sword, but I'm like...
Yeah, I would say it's probably still in your hand.
I'm just preparing myself for anything to happen.
I'm also preparing my sword.
By jerking off?
He doesn't have a sword. That's the joke.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thought he was talking about his dick.
I am.
That's okay. Yeah, I got.
He uses a blunt weapon.
Yeah.
Mushroom stamp. Okay, so he runs in and he has his pike, and he kind of pulls the shield off of his back, and he rushes and like jumps at the nobleman, and he makes an attack roll. That's 14 plus 7. That's a 21. That does hit.
Plus 7.
My guy.
Yeah, so he takes a run and jump and stab at the nobleman, and it hits him like right in the top of the chest there. Like bottom of the, like in the shoulder, top of the chest. And he does
upper pick
D12, which is only a 2. That sucks. Plus 6. So that isn't, he does 8 damage to the nobleman.
Instantly dies.
I'm dead. He's broken another seal.
Fuck.
Okay, so he stabs the nobleman, and the nobleman is like completely taken aback by this. And whenever he does this, obviously he stabs him and he's on guard. The two actual guards draw their weapons. They have the exact same thing. They're all outfitted. In this particular scenario, they've all been outfitted with shields and pikes. So they draw their pikes and they kind of hoard up in front of the nobleman. And you guys can see the nobleman has like a gash in his shoulder, and it's like oozing this like magma type blood, and it's a lot more than the cut that was on the side of his wrist. So it's becoming a lot more apparent through this hole in his armor that there's just like this weird blood like ooze coming out, and it's like steaming, and it's whatever you guys are trying to incite from the crowd here. There's probably a lot more people starting to take notice. So now the guards are going to attack this guy. Both of them actually take a stance, and they both attack. I'm just going to go ahead and have them attack at one time. So both of them actually also hit. Both of them rolled 13s. So 13 plus the 6 is 19. Both of those hit. So this guy lands after stabbing the nobleman. These two guards step in front of the nobleman, and they both at the same time go towards him, and same place, just on opposite sides. In the tops of his bottoms of his shoulders and the upper chest, like 2 pikes just go into this guard, and he is like hooked by the 2 of these guys, and it does 22 damage, and he is bleeding severely, but he's not dead. He's just like, so this guard like drops his weapons and his shield, and he like grabs a hold of these pikes, and he starts to like pull himself like towards the nobleman, and he's like screaming. He's like, "You're a fraud! You will end this city!" And then as he's like pulling himself, he like his knees are becoming weaker, and he slowly is just like, you could tell he's just, the life is just draining out of him. And he gets close and he like swings at one of these guards, and they're just very easily like move backwards and miss it, and he just slowly dies on these spears.
Oof.
Now, the crowd is dead silent. There are people screaming. There are people, well, sorry, not like
dead silent.
There's
screams.
no. Everyone's just like
Dead silent scream.
So the aura of the crowd is that like no one has any idea what to do, and everyone is very confused and torn, and people are running in and out. So there are some people who are screaming. People are mortified and they don't want to die. They just saw one of the guards that potentially people probably knew lives in the city. Is just a worker. What do you guys do?
Oh,
If you wanted to, before you reacted, if you wanted to wait to see how the nobleman reacts, that's fine too.
yeah.
But I want to give you guys the opportunity. Bartholonude, you've already left.
He has left the
So
building.
Bartholonude did not see that. Now, I will say this. Bartholonude, when you walked outside, you walked down to the entrance, the door was wide open, and there are people who are running out, and they're like telling the other people who are waiting to come in, because there's still a big line, probably all the way to the edge of the courtyard and down into like the business district, which surrounds the nobleman's keep, all the way down into the buildings, and they're running and saying, telling people there's a body here that looks like the nobleman. There's people in here professing he's not real. There's been a fight. There's been a guard that's killed. You know, we need to get out of here, or, you know, what's happening? People are just very confused. And you can tell that, like, as more and more people are coming out, more people are talking. Some people are interested in moving closer and, you know, like starting to crowd and riot around the nobleman's keep. And there are others that are moving away and just don't want anything to do with it because they don't want to die. Is there anything, before I move back inside and discuss what's going on, is there anything that you want to do to try to corral the situation?
Yeah,
or?
so Bartholomew just walks. He walks outside, and I mean Bartholomew's very calm, and he's just looking at everybody and trying to just observe what's going on. And then he walks over. There's a bench that's like right over by the side of the main pathway, and he stands on top of the bench, and he said he just commands with his entertainer voice. He says out loud, very command-like. He says, "The nobleman has revealed as a fraud. Neverwinter will fall. Go home. Be safe. If you find any information, tell Gwent at the Brandy's Main."
Okay, so the people here, like, they hear this, and some of them, like, they don't really know what to do. Like, this is the middle of the festival, and there are people here that aren't normally, like, out and about. They're normally just, like, at home. But during this time of year, as they had said, this is a time where they don't let a ton of people in and out of the city. So everyone here knows the nobleman. Everyone here knows how things normally operate. So to hear and have this happen, that's not good news. So,
And as like after I say that, like Bartholomew doesn't even hesitate. He finishes his statement. He doesn't look at how they react or what they're doing. He just casts Fine Steed, and his little dragon horse comes down and lands beside him. And then he gets on the dragon horse and heads for the gate that leaves the city.
okay. So it's a good trot. I mean, you're in the western edge of the city, which
It'll take an hour or two, maybe.
Yeah, I would say if you're heading anywhere,
I would like to go toward the western side of the city.
No, the western side is on the edge of the sea.
East side.
Okay,
Sorry.
so if you're headed towards the east side, yeah, that's probably a few hour trot. But I would imagine that your disposition right now isn't that you're in a hurry. You're just getting on it and going.
Yeah, I'm just leaving. It's pretty casual.
Okay, so Bartholonude summons his dragon steed horse and climbs aboard and pieces out. So back inside. So the nobleman acts quickly. This guy dies on the floor next to him. People are freaking out. He looks up and just kind of like does a quick like once over of you guys. And he comes over and he takes the body of the guard and kind of like kicks him over. And he says,
I grow tired of these unsubstantiated claims of how I run my city. I have been in charge for 10 years. I assure you we are all at the height of our prosperity. Where this guard gets his information, I don't know. Is there anyone else that has anything to say?
Whenever he says that, I bend down onto one knee and touch the guard that died and cast Revivify on him. And that's, you touch a creature that has died within the last minute, the creature returns to life with 1 hit point. And then I stand back up.
Please rebel continuously.
I'd probably be willing to say that after death, the spell does not continue.
Yeah, that's probably
it's probably a good spell breaker. Okay, so it's kind of cool though, because he says, "Is there anyone else that has anything else that they want to say?" And then you lean down and touch this guy, and he just stands back up, and he has these spear holes like in him, and
these people are fucking freaking out.
Yeah, like they legit have like no idea what to do right now. Now the nobleman, actually, I don't want to do this without making a intelligence check, because this would be something that would require him to be witty and on his feet, and if he sucks at it, I don't want to give him that advantage. So that's a 17. I'd say that's pretty good. So he sees this, and he says, he kind of points and he goes,
You see this magic, this trickery that these deceitful folks are trying to bring on you? Who's to say that body there, they're not using that to overthrow my power? What have I not done for all of you, this poor folk? I'm sorry this happened to you.
And he approaches the guard that was just killed, and this guy is confused and terrified, because the way that spell works is once they come out of being commanded, they know exactly what's going on. So he remembers exactly what happened, and I would say he's probably speechless. Like he probably never interacts with the nobleman on this level, and he's standing there, and then the nobleman takes a quick sweep of you guys, and he says,
Long have the gods of this good earth been dormant. 400 years we have been without their presence. We have been without their strong influence, and we have thrived.
And then he points to you, Topher, and he says,
The symbol in which you tout, Mishkal, where is he, other than manifesting himself in unstable magics? We did not bring ourselves to this day and age by the power of Mishkal, or the love of Bahamut, or the darkness of Baal, which was sealed away. We rose to this ourselves for 400 years without their influence. We have prosperity in their absence. Who needs the gods? Who needs your influence?
And he's talking to you at this point, Topher.
What good have they been? We are better without them, so don't bring your influence into my kingdom. Perhaps we may be in the start of a decline, but we will work together to bring us out of this. I assure you, our food stores are not running dry. We have plenty of supplies. And in time, all of you will know nothing but prosperity, nothing but the greatest of life, nothing but the greatest of wealth, as we bring Neverwinter to the peak of its prosperity. And everyone beyond our walls, throughout all of Faerun, will flourish. Pay not attention.
And he turns back to you all and says,
To these naysayers and their magics. Tell me, what is your end game here? What do you hope to accomplish? You've done nothing but cause turmoil in my keep. You've caused a guard to kill himself and then come back with wounds that will leave him dead yet again? What say you?
And I do, again, want to reiterate, you guys have the attention of the crowd. Like, there's some serious doubt being thrown here. Like, I would say at this point, this is a pivotal moment in the decision-making of how you can get the crowd decide one way or the other. You guys don't know it yet, but outside of the keep, there's 60, 70 people in here. There are hundreds and thousands of people outside where there are rumors spreading of the city in its downfall.
So I want to speak up, and I want to try to get the other two guards, that are with him, that are always with him, the ones that we fought, like their attention. And I've been pretty silent during this whole thing, and I just want to ask, so what is your end goal here? You say that the gods have left us all. I can obviously still, as a follower of Mishkal, yes, his power may be unstable, but he is still there. And I know that Baal is still there because we have seen him, and he is on the rise. So what is your end goal?
Whenever you say that, there are not the part about Mishkal, because obviously there are still some innate connections people have in the world to these gods. But whenever you say you have seen Baal, there's like a murmur and like a gasp that fills throughout the room. There's someone that speaks up out of the crowd and says,
I saw him too. In the night, days ago. A giant spider-like being. Blowing flame all over, set my house on fire.
And then another voice speaks up and says,
I saw that as well.
And then another voice speaks up and says,
my child has been missing for days, and these monsters that have shown up. You've done nothing to address this.
And then you guys can see the nobleman is starting to get flustered.
All of these things that have been happening the past few days in the night, when my home was destroyed, these creatures, you two, and I point at the two guards, we fought you the other night, and you were not guards. And all of these things, these children missing. And the nobleman, this man who says he's the nobleman, has been distracting everybody by giving away things, keeping your mind off of things that have been happening. So I ask you again, what is your end goal? And I'm looking at the nobleman whenever I say that.
So he kind of he starts to walk backwards, and he turns around, and he just and everyone is waiting for his response in this room. And he turns around and he walks back up and sits down on his throne, and he kind of takes a really deep breath.
My guards have not left my side, so to you to say you've fought them is obviously before today I've never seen you before. You haven't seen me. You haven't fought my guards. This is another lie that you were trying to peddle, which is sad coming from the god of life, or so whoever you claim to follow. I don't give to deceive. I give because we thrive. And we will continue to thrive. So you either leave now, or you will be removed not only from here, but from Neverwinter. And you will not be allowed to return.
I cast command on the two guards.
Now, they have Zone of Truth on them.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, what do they have to beat? Is it wisdom? Okay, here we go. Wow, neither of those succeed. They are both, one rolled a 12, one rolled a 4. So both of them are now under your command.
And just for the record, that Zone of Truth lasts 10 minutes. It doesn't require concentration. So that zone of truth will just remain effective from 15 feet from the nobleman's robe for 10 minutes since when I cast it.
Okay. I would say it hasn't even been close to 10 minutes yet. So
it's the same like with Bartholonude's command, because it's typically just a one word.
Yeah, I'll give you the same benefit. I would say 2 words. Tell you what, let's leave it up to a check. Let's make a wisdom check for me.
That's a 9.
9? Okay, I would say with a 9, you'd only get 1 word. Because they're actively opposing you. So I would say that with the free flow that Bartholonude had with this guard, it would probably make it a little easier to be susceptible, but these guys are active opposition. So I would say just 1 word.
Okay, well, if it's just 1 word.
Now, do you have to give them both the same command?
Let me see. Speak a 1-word command to a creature you can see within range, blah, 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 blah. You can cast a spell using a spell slot. Yeah, you can affect 1 additional creature. It doesn't, it just says 1-word command, so I'm assuming it's the same one for both.
I bend the rules a little bit for Bartholonude. I would say you'd be willing to give them each a separate command.
Okay, so one I'm going to tell them to speak, and the other one I will tell them to reveal.
Okay. So,
he whips his dick out.
Reveal it.
Present it.
I just imagine one of the guards, like, pulls his pants down, and he's got a fleshlight sitting on his erect dick over his pants.
Yes, my secret's out. Fuck.
Puts his hand up and yells, "Pudding!"
He just wears fleshlights just casually.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have been commanded to speak and reveal. And almost simultaneously, one of them, and it is, like I said, it's quiet in here. And do you verbally say this, or is this like something you...
Well, I have to speak a 1-word command, so yeah.
So do you say it like just so they can hear? I would, if you were going to speak it to where they could hear it, it would be loud enough to where at least half of the room could hear you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be said. So, and reveal as in like reveal yourself, like who your true form.
Okay. So the reason I ask you that is I want, obviously, since you're going to be saying it in a fashion to where everyone's going to be able to hear it, I want to get an idea of how you want to present yourself whenever you do this. Obviously, you've already made yourself known to everyone in the room that you have magic abilities, and he's called you out on that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know if there was like a particular aura that you were trying to present, like if you wanted to point at him and be like, "Speak," or if you just like how you wanted to present this spell.
Just throwing that ass in a circle. He's just like, speak, reveal, speak.
No, I think I would just like kind of approach the throne where the nobleman's sitting, and not really like point and be like, speak, reveal, and I would just look at one of them and say speak, and then look at the other one and say reveal, and just, I'm not like forcefully, because I know that the spell worked. So
you have all the flair of a dead possum on the side of the highway.
Well, there's no point in me like.
I mean, when I see dead possum on the side of the highway, I'm like, look. I notice it.
We were just talking about fleshlights earlier. That's what I see.
That dead possum. Well, they worked at Chili's, so they have a fuck ton of flair. Yeah. Actually,
I hate this show. I blame the listeners 100%.
Oh man, fuck. Dead possum fleshlight.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Topher, you point at one and you say, "Speak."
I specifically said I did not point.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
My bad. I'm sorry. It's been 45 goddamn minutes since that happened. So can you?
Not with my finger anyway. My erect penis points at each of them.
Command.
His erect penis has a possum on it.
All right. How about this?
Damn it.
If you could tell me again what you do, and I'll just flow right into what happens.
So I've got my hood up, and I walk up towards the throne, and before I command, I'm going to make my eyes glow like bright white. So like from within my hood, my eyes are glowing, and I don't point, but I, tell one of them to speak and then tell the other one to reveal.
Okay. At this exact moment, the one that you commanded to speak loudly and in that, not trying to hide it at all, immediately starts speaking in this dark, rumbling, indiscernible voice. And the other pulls off his
possum.
I hate everything.
It talks. It's like, sup. Glad I'm off of that thing.
The possum's like, ooh.
Shit! It's Ball! Okay. The other guard pulls up his sleeve and pulls out a dagger from his pouch and just runs the blade diagonally across his entire forearm and squeezes and clenches fists, and there is just like a pool of magma that starts to flow from his arm. So the nobleman is standing there trying to figure out what to do, and to his right, someone is mumbling this indiscernible tone, and the one to the left is like squeezing his arm, and this pooled magma blood is just coming out of him rapidly and in a fashion to where everyone can see it, and everyone is very aware that this is not normal blood.
Okay, while he's doing that, I rush the guard that's speaking and grab him by the throat and cast tongues on him.
Damn, you're about to tongue this dude?
And tongues is... This spell grants the creature you touch the ability to understand any spoken language it hears. Moreover, when the target speaks, any creature that knows at least one language can hear the target and understand what it says. So everybody's going to be able to hear and know what he's saying. And he has Zone of Truth on him. But whatever he's speaking about, we don't know that he's got Zone of Truth, but he might be revealing some information if he's just... Because he just has to speak. He can't stop speaking.
Okay. So, Topher, you cast tongues on this guard that is speaking in this dark foreign tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do, everyone is just kind of staring, and then you hear his dark, mumbling sounding tongue translate from what you were currently hearing into this. And it breaks mid-sentence. I'm imagining him kind of standing here, like, just face forward, like, just... kind of dumbfounded at himself and just completely unable to control his actions, and the nobleman is hearing this and seeing what's going on and legitimately has no clue how to react because there's too much happening for him to process that he was not ready to deal with. He is speaking, and it translates mid-sentence and says,
Chamber of the Seals. We're here to find it. Break the seals. Free the Dark Lord. The seal's knowledge rests there. We must find it. Find the chamber. Kill the guild. Break the seals. Free Ball.